better jump on.
Yes. This is how important all of y'all are to Stevie and I. We make it happen.
That is amazing. I'm going to grab the water real fast.
And for y'all.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I have it on auto mute for anybody that comes in. So everybody that's here, feel free to unmute yourself if you do have any questions or anything throughout the way. And Stevie will be holding down the chat box tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. Were you able to share it to Facebook?
I don't have it as an option on here.
Okay. That's what I thought. It's probably not like on the app.
However, I do have the recording. So we can record it.
Perfect. Well, congrats on getting your customer under contract.
Thanks. Super exciting. I've been working with them for quite some time. So the fact that we finally are able to execute something and get them in before the holidays, that's super exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So thank you.
All right, should we get right into it?
Yeah,
let's people are jumping on.
Awesome. So we know that, so Stevie and I had asked this week, like, what's the topic? What do y'all want to hear? And buyers was just a real, like, everybody wants to hear about buyers, how to win with buyers, scripts, you know, what to pay attention for with buyers. So we're going to be going over everything buyers related. And if you have anything that you want us to specifically talk about, make sure that you let us know so that we can hit on that topic. And Stevie's going to be holding down the chat, so she'll be keeping an eye on that.
Okay.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and let's break down working with buyers and really getting them to commit to using you as an agent. And so, and when I say like you as an agent, I mean, you know, us. So yeah. What do you specifically like to focus on? Or let's break it down, because obviously we want to make this very value packed for 30 minutes. So what are your value propositions that you bring to the table for buyers?
Okay, so sometimes people don't already know who I am, right? And they might not know who you are. Like, you are getting this internet lead, or it's a referral, an open house person. And this is what I do every single time, is I just try to provide value, get to know them, and ask them, you know, do you need closing costs covered? Are you thinking about trying to negotiate a home warranty? For the seller, you can negotiate that. The seller could take a home warranty for you. It's about $500. Or do you know how much an appraisal is, a home inspection, all those things? Because most of the time, especially a first-time home buyer, they have no idea. How would they know? They're not in the real estate industry. And even if they have bought a house before, people usually only buy like, what, 3 or 4 houses in their lifetime, maybe. And they don't remember how much a home inspection is, an appraisal, all those things. So that is the perfect topic for me to bring up when I'm doing open house with them. I can ask that question, and usually, right, they're like, I have no idea. So I will say, you know what we should do? I would love the opportunity to sit down with you and do a buyer consult. If they tell me I'm not looking to do a buy, like to purchase a property for another 6 months, year, 2 years, I'm like, that's perfectly fine. And I make it known, like, I know you're not ready to buy right now, but I still want to sit down and meet with you. This is probably your biggest investment of your life right now, right? And they're usually like, yes. And I'm like, if you sit down with me for 1 hour, this is going to make the home buying process seamless. You've probably heard that it's stressful, it's overwhelming. If we sit down for 1 hour, it's going to be so beneficial for you.
Definitely. I think that that's huge. And like you said, it's getting in front of them, whether they're wanting to put an offer in next week, next month, 5 years from now.
Right.
I want to be the agent that they get in front of. And if it's having that buyer's consultation once, maybe twice, depending on how far out they are.
Yeah.
I want to be that agent that they go to. These buyers that I just got under contract are a perfect example. I had my buyer consultation with them August of 2018.
Yeah.
And they messaged me a week ago and said, we're finally pre-approved. We're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And, they said, I know that you went over everything, but can you just do a brief retouch so that it's a refresher for us? And that's the thing. When you present it in a light to buyers, like, here's the benefit to you. When you and I meet, you're going to know from start to finish the entire home buying process. The benefit to you is that you're well informed. You know what to expect. You have control really over other buyers because you know what's going on.
Yeah. And just think, like, if you keep following up with them over that time, you invite them to your events, you send them holiday cards, you add them on Facebook, who are they going to think of when it is time to buy? If you're staying in this business and you're not planning on leaving, it's totally worth it. And everybody knows somebody that's looking to buy or sell. So build that relationship with them, and they will, even though they might not be ready right now, they will refer you that business.
Definitely. These clients, I received photos of their baby when she was born and like Merry Christmas texts. And, those were a year ago. Yeah. And so when you form that relationship and stay in front of them and teach them, because so many people, they understand, like they want to be home buyers and homeowners, they don't know what that means. They don't know the process. And so what I like to do is explain, okay, first we're going to get you in touch with the lender so that we know exactly what your financing options are going to be. And then we're going to start shopping. So I'm going to set you up on a search. You're going to receive a portal. You're going to favorite those homes. You're going to trash the ones that you don't like. Then we'll actually go out and preview homes. But during that initial buyer's consultation, it's going over, here's, that beginning steps. And then also, here's what putting in an offer looks like, and going over what an option period is, earnest money, and all of that.
Yeah. So I did want to share that the buyer consult, this is such a great way for you to showcase how you're different from other real estate agents. This is the perfect opportunity to build that trust with them, and to showcase how you have their best interests, how you're going to educate them, how you're going to walk them through the entire process. And I was trying to read my notes real quickly. So before, I wanted to break down like the steps, but I did want to mention, because a lot of real estate agents here, they ask like, can I sit in with your buyer consults? Because I preach buyer consults like all day. I know, like, thinking about my buyers in the past, the ones that have been stressful, the ones where the buyers were anxious, where things went wrong, was when I did not do a buyer consult with them. Because this is really the time to set the expectation. And so when these things come up, they're not surprised. They know what the earnest money deposit is. They know the inspections. They know about the inspection process, how the repairs work. Even in the consult, I educate them about the real estate market, educate them on that area. Is it a buyer or a seller's market? Are multiple offer situations really popular where you're at these people's price point? I always showcase, I explain the multiple offer process so that if that happens, they already know what to expect. I don't know about your buyers, but when I'm with them and I tell them, hey, they've already got another offer or they've got multiple offers, they're like, forget it. I don't want to do it. And it's like, whoa. Like, no. And I think it's so important for me to talk about it ahead of time so they know what to expect. Like, look, it doesn't take you any time. It takes me time. I'm the one writing up the contract for you. I love negotiating. Let's at least try. Let's just see.
Right. And what I like to, because that's a great topic, and I love doing that as well, because we have multiple offer situations depending on the area, the price point. It it varies. And so what I like to tell them is we have options when it comes to multiple offers. I say, here are our free options to set our offer apart, and here are options that will cost you some money. And so some of those free options might be a shorter close date if that's important to the seller. So it's always calling the listing agent, of course. But if the seller is looking for a quick close, okay, that costs us $0 for a quick close. Does the
Yeah.
seller need a lease back? So do they, I don't know, it depends on your market, of course, but in our market, it's common for a seller to close and need a couple of days to live in the home.
Yeah.
And so I ask my buyers, hey, if we close on the 25th and we give them a complimentary 5-day lease back and then you move in on the 1st, would you be okay with that? That's something free. That's not going to cost them any money out of their pocket, yet has their offer standing apart from the others.
Yeah. And I
And
do
so there's
mention about negotiating and how it works, because a lot of people do think that it is like HGTV and you just call them with a dollar amount. Hey, I want to offer $300,000. And it's like, no, actually, our contract here is 10 pages, and I give them the contract in the buyer console. I want them to review it ahead of time and ask any questions. So I want them to get familiar, but I do have a list in the buyer guide. Like, these are all the terms we're actually negotiating: the purchase price, closing costs, earnest money deposit, closing date. Are you needing a home warranty? Are you wanting that chandelier, that washer and dryer? Like, I'm mentioning all these points so that, and I'm also talking to them about comps. I'm explaining to them the offer process, because when it comes down to it, they're going to already be prepared. Okay, Stevie's going to send us this report. We're going to go over all of these terms. I know exactly what to expect. So I think taking this time to really educate them, what's been so helpful for me, I think I was going to get into this, was agents here asked to sit in with me on my buyer consults. They're like, what do you say? What do you do? I don't feel confident. And I'm going to be honest, my first couple buyer consults, I was so nervous. So nervous. Now it's beyond easy for me, and I can talk in front of all you guys and tell you all about it.
right.
But how you get confidence, honestly, is just doing it. You need to do it. And what has really helped me, besides, practicing and doing it over and over, is I have a buyer guide, which you could easily create. And in the guide, it goes over all the steps. And then at the end, I break down the earnest money deposit, upfront cost, how much do you really have to put down. So when I'm sitting in front of them, I'm giving them this guide, but I'm also using it as a guide for myself. I can go over each point on all the things to discuss, all in order. I feel like right now in this video, it's kind of scattered on what we're talking about. But when you're sitting down with them, you can be organized and simply go through the guide, just like a listing presentation. You're kind of like going through, some people go through a presentation, and that way they don't forget anything. I think that's super beneficial to set yourself up for success.
Definitely. And remember, you're the expert here. And so we tend to forget things, right? It's like we know the process like the back of our hand, and yet we need to set ourselves up in a teaching way, right? We want to teach them how the buying process goes. And so when you put that together, because the same thing, I have it's a consultation and it's home buying guide. And so it has from start to finish. And the first page is just questions all about them, their motivation, what they're looking for, so that I can always revisit that. And then I'm going through the entire process from start to finish. And it's always, you guys know that I do not leave my listing presentation with the seller. However, my buyer's presentation is totally different. That goes with them, because I want them to be able to reference that at all times. And I have a breakdown sheet of expectations so that they know if we, put an offer in, what is the next step? Because that's what a buyer wants to know ultimately. And my goal with buyers are like this one right here. Okay, we just signed the contract with the builder. Here's the next step. The inspector's going to come out and inspect the property tomorrow. You're going to meet him here at 6 o'clock. After that, here's the next step. Buyers want to know what's going on. They want to know what are you doing? What does the rest of the process look like? And so we just expect that they're going to like, oh, don't worry about it. I got it handled. Yet at the same time, they want to know, where are we at with this? What does that even look like? What does that mean? They want to be informed. So I literally use the words repeatedly throughout the home buying process of, here's what's next. Here's what you can expect next. And then I never have questions of, hey, Amanda, I haven't heard from you in a few days. How's it going?
Yeah.
Everything looking good? I never have those questions because I set their expectations up.
I did want to say that I always emphasize with them, like, look, we're meeting here today for 1 hour. I cannot possibly educate you on the entire home buying process in 1 hour. So ask all of your questions, and no question is stupid. People reach out to me all the time, buyers, and they're like, hey, sorry, this might be a dumb question. And I'm like, no, like, how are you supposed to know?
Yeah, that's right. For sure. So let's talk about getting the buyer's rep agreement signed. What does that look like for you?
Oh, what did you say? The buyer agreement?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't do that.
Okay.
Do you?
I do. Yep.
Yeah.
So when I meet with them for the buyer consultation, of course it depends on their time frame. If I know that they're months and months out, then I know not to press that. But if I know like they are in the middle of their pre-approval process, they're about to get it sought or get it like, over, we're going to go look at homes and all of those things, I let them know, hey, I want to work very, very hard for you and help you find that home. And if that means leaving my family at 6 o'clock at night from the dinner table to go out and show you homes, I want to know that you're as committed to me as I am to you.
That's
so by signing this buyer's rep agreement, that allows me to negotiate for you. So I'm going to go over this packet real quick, and you're just going to sign here and press hard.
I am literally writing that down.
And so they never question it because they're like, okay, she's gonna hustle and negotiate the best price possible. And so who's gonna do that? And so they understand that benefit and that value.
No, I think what you had said, it sounds really great. I've just never asked anybody before. Are you breaking up? Or is it?
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. I think we're good. So that's the benefit that
I'm wondering if it's my internet or yours.
I just took my Wi-Fi off. Maybe it's like the area that I'm
gas station Wi-Fi, girl.
I'm not even connected to it. Yeah, 7-Eleven.
I'm just kidding. No, I really wrote that down. Honestly, I've never asked anybody that before, and I don't know why. I just feel like I really like what you said and how you said it. I've never heard anyone say that before. But I always just kind of feel like this opinion on it is, if you don't want to work with me, if you don't see value in me, then I don't want to work with you. So I'm not going to come after you because you signed this form. I mean, have you ever come after anybody from signing that? And they went with someone else?
No, it's simply a committed. It's just a commitment. I want to know that they're committed to me. Yeah. And I let them know, hey, it's an easy out contract. If for some reason you and I decide that we're not a great match, or you know, you just simply decide to hold off on purchasing. No harm, no foul. However, I want to know that you're committed to me just as I'm committed to you.
I like the confidence.
I
I'm
mean,
writing this down.
and you know, and the thing is I ask them the question, hey, if we go out and view a home and it checks off all of the boxes that you're looking for and it's within your price range, will you be ready to put an offer in?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm testing them out. Are they an A buyer, a B buyer, a C buyer? Because if I'm going to rearrange my entire day to go out and show you homes, I got to know that you're an A buyer.
So here's a good question. Let's say you don't have, because you don't have a buyer consult with everybody, do you? I try to, but
I try to. Not everybody, though. Yeah, I agree.
it doesn't always happen that way. And let's say you don't do a buyer consult. Are you still getting that agreement signed?
Yes.
At the house, like that you're touring, you're like, by the way.
Yep. And here's what I do. I set the expectation before we even meet. I say, okay, you purchased multiple homes before. That's great. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to set up 2 showings. We're going to go view 2 homes today. And in the kitchen, we're going to sit down and we're going to just refresh over the process. That way, you have all the tools that you need should you be ready to write an offer. How does that sound?
And that's when you mention about the agreement.
Yep. And then I say,
Nice.
hey, I know that we just met each other, and I know that you have plenty of options when it comes to working with an agent. I'd be honored to be the agent that you choose to work with. And by doing so, I'd love to put that business arrangement together for you and I. So are you ready to go over the buyer's consult, the buyer's rep agreement?
I like it. Are you able to mute everybody?
It says that it should be muting people on as they enter, but I don't know why it's not.
It must be the connection or something. So I wanted to say, what did I want to mention? I do take a couple minutes before I break down the steps, because usually I'll break down the steps and then I go over like timeline of events, upfront costs, all those things. But I do take a second to build my own credibility. I share my accomplishments like real quickly.
Yeah.
And showcase my references. That's a new thing, is like, look, if you want to look or call or email, text people that I've worked with before, here's everyone's contact information. And then I also I show them where my Zillow reviews are. You can look at all of these reviews, because a lot of people I haven't met before. You know what I mean?
That's great. I love the references. I think that that's huge.
Yeah, because it's like, look, I've helped all these people. They're more than happy with me, and they're happy to have a conversation with you about their experience.
Definitely. What I also include into my buyer's consultation is I have 3 lender references to say, I never ask, are you pre-approved? People don't like talking about money, right?
Yeah.
And so, are you pre-approved? It puts off a shield. So I always say, have you spoken to a lender to see what your best financing options are? That way they're like, oh, I have options?
Yeah.
And they do. I mean, they really do at the end of the day. They do have options. But so it's just for me, it's a polite way to say, are you pre-approved?
Yeah. I always tell them, I'm not actually the one that looks at your finances. I don't look at your income. I don't look at your credit. So, and I do, showcase my preferred mortgage lenders and how they are local here. You can meet them in person. I work with them on a daily basis. They help out a lot of my first-time home buyers. They really are going to be there to help educate you. And I tell them what documents that they need to bring with them. I give them a list of questions to ask them, because they're like, I don't even know what to ask. So
that's good. Write that down. That's so great.
I just give them a couple questions, and one thing that I always showcase, because this has happened to me multiple times, where they got pre-approved with someone online and up to, let's say, $300,000. Well, then we're looking at that price point, we go in our contract, and then they're actually communicating with the lender at that time. I'm like, no. We need to communicate with them in advance, please, because you need to educate the lender on your budget, your family's budget, on what you want to spend every single month with the monthly mortgage amount, taxes, homeowners insurance. A lot of communities have HOA fees, and a lot of the communities here have CDD fees. And so many times it's happened where we went under contract. Like, I negotiated everything, and then they're like, this is out of our budget. And I'm like, so, I mean, this has been like years since this has happened, because I stress this so much now. I'm like, educate the lender. There's so many different loan products out there. This is your biggest investment. Ask all the questions. They will educate you on, if you're needing down payment assistance, they'll talk to you about how FHA and conventional, I do a lot of VA, how those are different. Like, sit down with them in person. Why not?
Definitely. I think that that's huge. Two of the things that I do for my buyers are call the listing agent to see how the seller wants the offer structured. Because again, it is so common to be in it's so common to be in a multiple offer situation. I want to see, what's most important to the seller. And then the second thing is reaching out to the lender to say, here's the property that we are strongly considering putting in an offer. Here's the address, the price, the taxes, HOA. Can you put together a cost net sheet for the buyers?
Yes.
I want them, before we even put the offer in, to know how much cash they're going to have to bring to the table and what their monthly mortgage is going to be. Because again, having all cards on the table is what you want at the end of the day, right? So
also, during the buyer consult, this is a great opportunity for you to mention two things. One, that it does not cost them anything to use you as their real estate agent, right?
They've already factored it into the cost of selling their home.
And then the other thing is that you can help with new construction. You have access to all properties. And I always have the conversation like, I've gone through everything. I've gone through the steps. I've gone through all the things. We've talked about what they're looking for. And how I leave the consult is two things. I'm like, okay, we need to talk to the lender. We need to get that ball rolling. We need to have a conversation with them. And then the next thing is I set them up on my website. And I tell them, hey, go to my website, steviehahn.com. It's synced with the MLS. It updates every 15 minutes. I have access to all properties. You can request showings off there. You can favorite properties so I can get an idea of what you're looking for. There's a mortgage calculator. So have that conversation with them on where do we go from here. Okay, I feel like the two things are the mortgage and start looking at properties. And then I always tell them, however you'd like to do showings, if you want to set up a Saturday and go to 10 houses, I'm okay with that. Or if you want to just call me sporadically, you're like, I found this one, Stevie, like, we got to go out there, we got to go look at it. Like, I'm fine with that too. People think that I'm very busy. I feel like it's like every time they're just like, sorry, I don't want to bother you. I'm like, no, this is my job. Like, please bother me. Ask me all the questions. Let's go look at all the properties. Like, that's the fun part about the real estate transaction. I don't mind. And I'm like, let's go. Like, even if it's just one, I always try to emphasize I'm never too busy, and I will show you just one property. It does not matter.
Definitely. And I always also tell them, hey, I understand that there's an open house going on, and I'd still love to go with you to view that property. There's so much benefit to having me there, because while you're going to be looking at the granite and the hardwood floors and the neutral paint, I'm going to be looking at the roof, the HVAC, the water heater, and those structural items that you might not even think twice to look at. And so there's a benefit to having me there, whether it's an open house, a new build, or anything like that. Your best interest is my best interest. So let's go together. Don't go to an open house without me.
Yeah, I like that.
Awesome. I feel like I have so much more to talk about with buyers, but we can always address those questions, or we can always do another one on a specific topic with buyers. I saw some questions come through, but I can't see a chat box.
Oh, no one ever wants to sign a buyer agent agreement in my market. So that's so helpful. I think what you had mentioned.
Oh, good.
Mute your phones. Do you put in the buyer agent request how long you'll represent them, 45 days, etc.?
So I always put 6 months.
6 months, okay.
A standard of 6 months.
It looks like.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I always just do 6 months, and I just let them know, hey, this is an easy out agreement. However, again, it's that commitment factor. It's that, you're all in, I'm all in. Let's do this.
I'm committed to you. I will show you properties at night, weekends, whenever you need me out there.
Right.
I like it.
If I'm leaving Nick and the puppies at home, then it better be for a good reason. It better be because you're my client.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think now I'm going to start doing the buyer agreements. I've honestly really only have had listings the last couple of months. So
same. And I just think that there's just something to be said about, when you're actually signing with somebody, it's that we're committed now. You know what I mean? And I want that.
Yeah, we want them committed to us.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I feel like this was like a ton of really good information. Shoot, I made notes.
I know. I'm like, wait, where's my, I need to write this down. Good thing I have it recorded so I can go back and take some of your great notes that you had given.
Showing up at the freaking gas station, girl. Like, damn, that is some serious dedication. Right?
I love y'all, and I love doing these. You guys know that. So I'm glad that you're okay with this light and this background, because this is definitely not my normal scenery.
I started panicking like 20 minutes before the call. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing this by myself. I hope he doesn't show up. What's
No, I'm so glad that everybody here showed up, and thank you, Stevie, as always, because you always have such great content. So let us know what you guys think. I know that everybody on here already follows us, but whatever topics, or if you want us to elaborate on something, message us. But we'll have this recording up on YouTube probably within the next day or two.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Okay.
All
guys,
right.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys. Have a great night. Talk with you soon. Go crush it the rest of this week. Bye.